So today I have the great pleasure of being in Monterrey, in Mexico, for a special interview, the fourth episode of Jeune Ambitieux. I'm joined by the talented Silvana Flores. How are you doing?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Could you introduce yourself for those watching? Like, tell us who you are, where you come from, like your background.
Okay. I'm Silvana Flores. I'm a professional footballer. I currently play in Pumas, which is a team situated in Mexico City.
Yeah.
I've been playing professionally since I was 16, where I made my debut with Arsenal. And from that moment is when I really decided I wanted to do this for a job. I was born in Canada, and from really early on, my family, we moved all over to England, which was because both my siblings also play football. So I come from a very football family. Both my parents played, and they supported us through it all, and they sold the house, left their jobs and everything so that we could have a better opportunity over in England. So that's where my journey started, and it's brought me now over to here. I initially was with the Canadian national team at the youth ages, under 15, under 17, and I went to a camp with Mexico under 17s, and I fell in love with the culture, the style of play, the environment, and I decided that I wanted to play for the Mexican national team. And yeah, from there I've been either representing Mexico or different club teams. At the moment I've played for club teams in London and England, and now here in Mexico. We won a championship here in I played in Monterrey actually with Rayalas, and finishing my contract I came over to Pumas, and the goal at the moment is hopefully another championship.
Hope for you that. Are you ready for the game for tomorrow?
I'm really excited for the game tomorrow, especially it's a game with a lot of importance and history for me. I think coming from Monterrey, I know all the Tigres girls really well because I played for Rayadas, which is the rival team.
Yeah.
So I feel like there will always be a bit of rivalry there, although there's also a lot of friendship.
Yeah.
I have many friends on Tigres. So it's always like, I don't know how to explain it. I just want to win. It's just a little...
Of course.
And now more that my brother and sister play there. Of course, I always support them, but it's always nice to
It's
to meet your siblings.
there are no friendship on the pitch.
Yeah, and especially last game we played against them, we won 2-0, and I scored a goal.
Yeah.
So hopefully history can repeat itself tomorrow.
Hope really for you that. So, as you said, like you are 23, but at such a young age, you've already experienced so much. The first point I really want to ask you, like you grew up between Canada, England, Mexico. So what do you think shaped you the most as a person and as a player?
I think as a person, maybe living in Canada, I think Canadian culture is so based on like values and on society and helping others, and you learn from a young age. Like, I think that there's so much importance in being kind and working together, and I think that really shaped me as a person, and growing up in Canada shaped me as a person. Because when I went to England, there was a bit of a culture shock. It is a slightly colder country. It is slightly not so welcoming to outsiders. It is slightly different. And I think England shaped me a lot in terms of football, like being able to play with these world-class players from such a young age, just like even in the academies before I even made it to training with first teams, like the professionalism and just like being able to represent Arsenal when you're like 14 years old, even if it is an under 16 club team, it's going and watching my brother's games. It's so incredibly professional, and they're so beyond a lot of other countries when it comes to that like youth setup. There's age groups for so many different, like there's categories for so many different age groups. Like there's so many different teams. The level is really good. So that probably shaped me a lot. Also my style of play, you know, growing up with the rain, wearing 6 studs, like it was super cool for me, like being able to, I guess, play in that type of culture. Because in Canada, once again, it's so kind and welcoming to everyone, but at the same time in football there was like rules where you can't slide tackle because you can hurt someone, or everyone's a winner, like type of mentality.
Okay, I see the mentality.
And in England,
Impossible.
not at all.
All competition.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, one might shape me more as a person and the other more as a footballer. And I think when I came to Mexico, it was more about finding myself. It was my first time leaving my family and living on my own and living life on my own. So for me, it's been such a beautiful stage of life, like living here. But yeah, I think I was definitely prepared by the time I decided to move over here. I think I was 20 when I moved here, because I remember I had offers from different countries from a very young age, and I never felt right. Yeah, I always told my parents like, no, I want to stay at home, stay at home. And so when I finally felt, I guess, prepared, both as a person and as a player, that's when I came over here. So yeah, all three have had an important part on my life and career.
That's really nice. But in my opinion, people don't realize like how hard is it to move like in all different countries. It's not like you just move like from England to France or Germany. You move like from Mexico, Canada.
Different cultures, different continents.
Yeah. And that was exactly my next question. Like, where do you find the mental strength to adapt to so many countries, cultures, friends, everything else?
Yeah, I think for me, that was a mentality that's always been ingrained in not just me, but my brother and sister from a young age, because of my mom and dad. They're so resilient and so hardworking, and I feel like it was never an option to be like
Loser?
sad or feel sad for yourself.
To complain, yeah.
Obviously, like things are hard, but you know what's next. And I feel also that as long as we're together, we're always fine.
Yeah.
So obviously leaving my friends was like a bit sad, and growing up in a country where, you know, you did get made fun of a bit, and you didn't have any friends, and people, you spoke differently and people acted super differently. You didn't know anything. It's tough, like leaving everything you've ever known. But I felt like as long as we were together, it was like us against the world. So it was always okay. Like as long as I came home to my family, and even in school, like when me and my brother first went, like we'd stick together, and you know, we finally, like, you get used to different cultures. And I think one thing that everyone should do is move out of their country, and whether they play football or not, because it really teaches you to be humble. You can be like the best in your country, but as soon as you leave, you're no one.
Yeah, exactly.
You're nobody.
Exactly,
You have to start from scratch. You have to learn all over. You have to make a name for yourself. And yeah, I think me and my brother and my sister, obviously I'm not saying it's easy, but I also feel that because of the way my parents raised us, we were always prepared.
That's a good help. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, my parents are out of this world. Yeah.
But you truly have like an inspired path. That's really incredible, because very few people will have the strength to overcome all those difficulties like you did.
Yeah. No, and that was moving from Canada to England, for example. I already spoke the language. But from moving from England to then Mexico, that was tough, because I was sort of like, I could understand Spanish. I had learned a bit, but I was also learning the language on the go, learning the culture on the go, I learned how to drive on my own.
Okay, yeah.
There was so many different, like, because I thought I could drive, but you think you can drive until you move to Mexico. You should relearn everything that you ever thought you knew.
Yeah. And as you said, like everyone in your family played football, like your parents before, and now Marcelo, Tatiana, and you. Like, was always football like obvious when you were younger? It came later.
No, it was started young.
Okay, yeah.
But it wasn't our only option. My mom was very fierce in her opinion that we should have like we should be able to choose, but we should also have all the opportunities and options available to us.
Yeah.
So honestly, we grew up extremely privileged. Like I've always had my mom and my dad around 24/7. They took the few first years of my life off of work to be with me, my brother and sister all the time. And they really did make sure we had all those opportunities from a young age. So we got enrolled in tennis, in hockey, in figure skating, in piano classes, in singing classes, in theater, in anything you could ever think of.
Yeah.
We were enrolled in it.
That's important, yeah.
Yeah. So my mom, she made sure, and between my mom and dad, they would take us everywhere. Like, I'm telling you, everywhere. My dad would take us to school and pick us back up from school instead of sending us on a bus, just to spend more time with us and see how our day went. Yeah, they were very present parents. And I think that also made a big difference. Like,
Sure.
you know, like I realize I'm very privileged in the opportunities, and also like that my parents were always around, and the time and effort and energy they invested in us. And I really feel like that's where the difference was made. And also the fact that we all got to choose what we wanted to do. I feel like you excel more when you decide for yourself, when you're not being forced or pushed into something. You know, you're always gonna perform better. So from a young age, we were all involved in football. And then it got to when we hit about 8, 9, 10, 11, it's when things start to get more competitive, when you have to like narrow down choices. So at that point, we were all doing like 1, 2, 3 activities. So I was doing like piano, ballet, and football.
That's really, really important, like, even just for your culture, like yourself, I mean.
Yeah. And then, yeah, so we narrowed it down, but it really has always been football. For my brother, it's been football. That's it. That's what he loved to do. That's all he could talk about, think about, all he wanted to do. And I feel like for my sister, she might say something differently tomorrow, but I feel like also for her looking up and seeing me, my brother, my mom, my dad all playing football, I feel like that really is probably what generated like that want to also play football, to want to be a part and connect with the family. So yeah, I do feel like it's just football has always, it's always been a part of our life, but I also feel like it's always been a part of my family. My parents would pick us up early from school on certain days, like take us out an hour or two early because the Barcelona game was on at that time. And my mom would have snacks ready. We'd watch the game all together. It was like our event. And I feel like it really did define us for a long time as a family growing up. It was how we bonded, how we connected, what we spent a lot of time and energy on, but we all enjoyed it. So
That's nice.
it's always been a part of our life.
And have you ever asked yourself, like, if you hadn't become a professional athlete, what do you think you'd doing today?
That's a great question. I have no idea because
You started young, so maybe.
no, well, yes, and also my mom, since she put us in so many things from such a young age, and I had all that support that I ever needed, I genuinely believe I could have done absolutely anything and hit a really high level. Like I remember I played piano and I hit like the highest level of piano that I possibly could at the age of like 12 or 13. And the next like level after that would have been to go to university. Can't go to university at 13 for piano, but like I could have been a pianist, or I was super academic. Like I used to get really, really good grades in school. Like I always wanted to go to Harvard actually. And then when I went to England, I was like, okay, well, that's fine. Like, I guess I can go to like Oxford because it's close to home. But like, I was one of those kids in school that would cry if they got like one question wrong.
Okay.
So I genuinely think like I could have done anything. I'm not sure what it would have been because honestly, the opportunities are endless.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You cannot like regret now the path. It's incredible so far. So
And I think it's a similar case for my two siblings. They're so talented in literally anything they try and do. It's but I honestly, it all comes down to my parents. I think just that preparation from such a young age and all the opportunities we were given. Yeah, it's just now we pick up a sport and we're automatically good at it. Or same with languages, like we're able to learn them like super quick. And
like you spoke many different languages. Like you told me that you can speak French.
Un petit peu.
Un petit peu, okay.
Ouais.
Spanish.
Je comprends plus que je parle.
Okay. But it come maybe like me with Spanish. I cannot speak at all. But
You were about to. I heard you.
yo he entendido, pero no habla muy bien. And you spoke about England, about Canada. What was like your first impression when you arrived in Mexico, like with women's football?
Oh.
Were you surprised, or what was the first feeling?
Well, I knew that the level of the league had grown a lot since when it first started. So I was expecting a good level. And honestly, for me, it was a fantastic experience because I went from playing on teams where I never would have gotten proper minutes. You know, I was always going to be a bench player or even a player who didn't travel with the team because I was young and I was the best players in the world. So coming to Mexico was like my first real opportunity of competing for like a place on a team. So the level was good, but it was also at a level that I could compete at.
Yeah, okay, I see. I get it.
So it was super good for me. And I feel like I've grown a lot as a player since I've been here because I've had that exposure to playing time.
Sure, sure. And you already played in 2 different clubs? Oh, no, 3. There was a loan, right?
In a few. I played in Rayadas.
Yeah.
I went on loan for 6
Yeah,
months
okay,
to Mazatlan, which that was an interesting story of how that came to be. But I also feel like it really shows like my resilience at the end of the day because that loan came from honestly a bit of an adversity. My coach at the time, who's now the director, told me that I was not going to play. We had a discussion. She told me that I wasn't going to play in the club anymore.
Yeah.
So I asked if I could leave the club and go play for another team, to which she told me no.
Okay.
So I said, I still have a year contract here, which is 2 full seasons. I can't sit on the bench for 2 full seasons. And that's when she said, well, you can go on loan to this team, Mazatlan, which is the worst team in the league.
Okay.
I said, you know what? That's fine. I prefer to play. So I took that. A lot of people saw it as like a really big step down from where it had been. No one understood why, but because no one had the context. And I'm not the type of person to go on social media and write like, you know, this is make it a big deal. No, you know what? Like, if that's where I have to go to play, like, you know, be humble. Who do you think you are to say no to a team just because they don't do well in the league? So I said, you know what, that's fine. And I went, I played. Unfortunately, I played the first 5-6 games, 90 minutes each game. I loved it. Even though we lost every game, it was just nice to be on the field, to be appreciated and valued. But then I got injured. That's when problems started. That was tough. I came back to Rayadas to finish my recovery. And from there, I didn't have a team for a bit. Like, honestly, because of my knee. And I was having to do like therapy outside of the club and stuff. My contract finished. I still wasn't healthy. And that's when I went to Pachuca. They opened the doors to me. Unfortunately, I lasted a few weeks and I got they call it was like a little tumor, non-cancerous, but in my ovary.
Okay.
So it was like at the point of bursting. So I remember feeling really tired all the time. Like, even though all I did was sleep and like sometimes I couldn't even have the energy to get up and eat.
We're weak.
Very weak. But I was like, well, maybe the trainings are really hard and I always run the most and I always work my hardest. So maybe it's because of that. And then there was like a few other little signs, symptoms. I had like some groin pain. And then the doctors told me that that wasn't my groin where it was hurting me. So I was unsure. And finally I went to go check it out. And that's when they told me that it was a non-cancerous tumor in my ovary and it was really big. So she was like, I asked her, like the doctor, what are the options? And she told me, well, like, I have to get it out like as soon as possible. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like at the end of the season, she goes, no, like tomorrow. I said, wait, like let my mom arrive here and maybe we can do it the next day. So my mom arrived, say it was like a Thursday. My mom arrived on the Friday and I got operated on Saturday.
Okay.
And unfortunately in that time, I had only been in Pachuca for a few weeks. I'd played almost every single game that I had the possibility to play. But obviously that took me out for the rest of the season. And since I was going there after an injury and they'd only seen me play 3-4 games, it came to the end of the season and they were making some economic cuts. And at the end of the day, I didn't get extended another contract, which makes sense. I mean, I played 3-4 games. Was only there for a few weeks, and then I was out. So that was also tough because not only had I not played for almost a year and a half because of my knee, and I then had to go through like this surgery where they pretty much cut me open like a C-section. So I had to recover as if it was a C-section, which meant no exercise that could cause any type of abdominal force, which is basically every single exercise in the entire world. So I had to go for 3-4 months of doing nothing. Like, I think the most I could do was like, okay, today you can do a 5-minute walk. Today you can do a 15-minute walk. Today you can do a 30-minute walk. And then I upgraded to like walking on the stairs. But that was my recovery for a few months. And I remember I finally got cleared to start doing some exercise. And the season was about to start. So I'd already missed out almost on a whole season. I hadn't played for almost a year before that because of my knee. So it was like, you have to find a team for this season. Otherwise, you're not going to have a team. Doesn't matter how many great teams you play for, how much good footage you have. You don't have any recent footage.
Exactly.
And you've been injured so much, and you've gone to these clubs that aren't so well. And all people see is that, oh, she gets injured, or oh, she doesn't play, or oh, she switches teams a lot. They don't know the full picture. So you need to find a team now. Otherwise, you might never find one. So obviously, I'm extremely stressed at this point because I've not even touched a ball. Never mind touch the ball. I haven't run or done any gym or exercise in weeks and months, and I have to find a team. So that's when Leo Poyer, which is the director of Pumas, he was actually in charge of the national teams when I first started playing for the national team.
I get it.
His son used to coach the national team. Then another one of his like coaches was my coach. So he knew me from there. So he was like, you know what? Like, come in, let the coach see you. You can have a trial. If he wants to keep you, he can keep you. If not, I'm sorry. I was like, okay, well, this is my opportunity.
Sure.
So that's when I turned up to Pumas without having touched a ball in months. I think the most exercise I'd done was like the 3, 4, 5 days before that. I started to run and like made sure I could change direction without like, you know. And I just sent it. Like the first time I touched a ball in once was in that like first training session. And there was actually like a group of like 6, 7 other trialists there at the time. And after the training, he got them all together and spoke to them, but he didn't invite me to speak. So I was like, oh, I wonder what this is. But then he came over to me personally and he was like, so are you staying for the full week? I was like, yeah, like I could stay for the full week. He said, great. Sure. Next day I turned up to training. None of the trialists are there anymore. So I said, okay, well, I guess that means that I was the one that caught his eye. Thank goodness. They had been there for already the entire week. I only turned up for the very last day. But I was like, okay. And I stayed. I trained for that week. And within that week, he asked me if I liked it, if I would like to stay. I was like, of course. He's like, great. I'm going to talk to the directors so they can offer you a contract. I got offered a contract. Obviously, there was a huge pay cut from what I used to earn in Rayadas to what I had to sign to be able to have another team. And it was only a 6-month contract.
Okay,
they said,
okay.
Let's see how you do. And that's also another pressure. You have 6 months to do whatever you can to get a contract for the next season.
Pretty nothing, like...
It's nothing.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I was very thin. Didn't have much strength and hadn't touched the ball in a while. So I was a bit... Honestly, the technique never leaves you. This never leaves you, but my body wasn't reacting the way I wanted it to. So my first few weeks, it was just trying to get my body back. And then the next few weeks is trying to learn what the coach wanted. He was fantastic with me, though. He told me right away, he's like, look, I've seen you've had a tough go with your career recently. I don't want to expose you. I see some potential in you. I want to be the coach that helps you get back on the field.
Nice.
We're going to do it my way, and I need you to trust me and be patient. So I said, okay. I didn't know what that entailed, but it entailed me not traveling for the first 2 games, not playing for like the first 6 games, and then from like games 7 to 13 playing like between 5 and 15 minutes. And finally, for like the last 5 games this season, all of a sudden I got a halftime, I got 60 minutes, I got a start, I got another start. And the really good thing about the way he dealt with my injuries, my process, everything, was that he's right. I was never exposed to a situation I was uncomfortable with. When I felt strong enough is when I got minutes. And when I felt like I understood the system, I got more minutes. And honestly, every single time I came on, whether it was 5 minutes, 15 minutes, halftime, 90 minutes, I always performed. thank goodness. And I always performed more than what they expected. So I got to play the Liga, which is like the playoffs, as a starter. So that was super cool. Season came to an end, and actually those teams that I played against in the Liga offered me a contract. And that was Chivas, which is one of the good teams in this league. And I had another few big clubs interested. And Pumas decided to offer me a contract extension. So it went from not having any team, no one wanting me being injured, sick, weak, not touching the ball, to all of a sudden I had options, lots of teams, playing time. And like I say, football switches like this. You never know what's coming.
It's like a really like roller coaster. It's like yeah.
No, for real. Talk about roller coaster, not only like physically and stuff, but mentally. It was horrible, like more with my knee injury than anything, because it wasn't an ACL where you know exactly it's 9 months, this is the operation, this is the recovery, this is when you can do this. For me, it wasn't like that. It was like cartilage, meniscus, bone damage. So it was the type of thing where we had to see from day to day. I wasn't sure if it would take me 3 months or it'd take me a year. It would swell up and I couldn't do any exercise for a week, and then I'd try again. It would swell up again. It was a horrible process. And I think that uncertainty was so much worse than just like knowing I'm ACL, like 9 months, you're back in. And at the end of the day, it took me 9 months, like 9-10 months. So it was the same as an ACL injury time, but I feel like mentally I struggled a lot more because I didn't have a plan. I didn't know if my knee would ever react the way I needed to. To this day, like you can probably see it. It's also, it's always swollen. I can't bend it past a certain amount. It hurts me every single day. Like that pain never went away. I just learned how to deal with it. Like when it was too much for my knee, when I need to rest, when I can push, when I need a bit of gym, when I need to ice my knee. But it's never really, I mean, now I have 30% of a meniscus, 50% of an ACL, like no cartilage. So my knee's just hanging in there.
And you can not think about it once you're on the pitch.
Yeah,
you forgot like about everything.
I love football.
Yeah.
Because I cannot seem to keep my mind on one thing ever. I think that's why I'm so like active and social and this and that and like why I like study. Like I'm always active, whether it's like physically, whether my brain's somewhere else. Like my sister gets really annoyed with me sometimes because she speaks to me and it takes me like a few seconds to reply. I go, what? And then as she's trying to explain to me again, I answer her and she's like, what the heck? And like, I'm sorry, my mind was just somewhere else. I needed a second to come back, process and answer. So for me, like one part I love about football is one of the only times where I feel fully like present in a moment. I feel like I'm always distracted, or always doing things, or always moving, or always, and I feel like it's like the one time where not only like my body, like all that energy can go into playing, but also my mind. Like I'm a midfielder, so always scanning, always pressing, always this, always that. And I think I don't think about anything other than the game when I'm in there. Not about who's watching, not about my knee, not about the pain.
That's really good.
There's lots of times in games where I get horrible tackles, and I'm one of those players that you look at it and you're like, on the challenge, and I just get up as if nothing. And I feel like pain doesn't even register me sometimes when I'm playing. Like I'm just like so in it, and then the game finishes and I can't walk. But
Very nice.
But I am able to block it out during games.
Nice. Thank you very much for your return. And do you have like a player, like whatever, if it's a male or female, who inspires you the most? Like on a daily basis or as a player or whatever?
For me, it's will be and always will be Andres Iniesta, because I grew up watching all his games and I just wanted to be just like him. Like I always wanted to be number 8. I could never get a raise, so I've always been 18 or 28 or anything that could get to be like him. Like I probably shouldn't say this on here, but most of my passwords for things have his name involved somewhere. Like I pull up his clips and the way he receives the ball, the way he scans his passes, things like that on game days, just to like have that in my mind. I feel like after watching it, sometimes it just happens on the field as well. So, but there's a lot of female players that I personally played with that I look up to so much, but I also feel like the female game is pretty new. And there were players that I like grew up watching, but it was always just like female football was always just starting, and I always did look up to them. But I feel like for me, it will like always be in yes.
Yes, I.
See.
You told me just before that, like, if I remember well, like in 2022, you were all of three in three different countries,
Oh yeah,
and your parents were everywhere.
everywhere. They still are everywhere.
How did they manage to come and support the three and to be like everywhere at the same time all over the world? That's incredible from outside, like.
Yeah, no, my parents, they are incredible. Honestly, they're like extraordinary human beings, which most of the time people are like, how can they have three kids who play like professionally this snap? Like, because of them, because of the way they are, everything that they've ever done. Like, I hope I can do the same type of job they did when I have kids. But when we were all three in different countries, it was pretty difficult, especially for them. You know, seeing their kids all in different places and feeling like the family was breaking up, and
And such at a young age.
yeah, and after being together like
Yeah.
24/7, like
Yeah.
for so long. I think what helped then was that I've always been very empathetic with my brother and sister. Like, I've always understood that they've needed slightly more attention than I do. I've never been jealous of my siblings for anything, for my parents' attention, for their achievements. And I feel like it's the same with them. But I've always known from a young age that they do need mom and dad slightly more. So when we were all three in different countries, my dad was living with my brother, my mom with my sister, and I was living on my own. And honestly, like, I know my parents always feel like my dad will bring it up, and my mom too, that they always feel a bit bad because they feel like they left me or they didn't give me as much attention as the other two. But I never felt that way. I feel like my brother and sister needed it a bit more in that time. They were so young, you know, at least. I mean, I know I'm only a bit older than them, but I've always felt a lot older than them. Like I say, I've always been the bossy one, but in the way that I've always protected them, I've always seen them as like, you know, my little ones. So we did that by them living without those two. And then once in a while, like, one would come visit me, and then they'd go back, and then someone else would come visit me. So like, those visits were super nice and exciting for me. But at the same time, like, there's never a day that goes by that I don't get, even now, like, that my family's in Monterrey and I'm in Mexico City, there's never a day that goes by that I don't get a "good morning, princess, how are you?" from my dad. Or I don't get like a call from my mom. Like, she calls me at the worst times, always. She always calls me when I'm training on the field, when I'm like, I don't know, in a plane. But there's never a day that goes by where she's like, "Hey, just call me back when you can." And we go and we have like, it's usually like a 2-hour chat because we have the same personality and we're just like talking the whole time. But so
That's nice.
no, it is nice. There's not a game that goes by that they don't watch.
Yeah.
Like, I know that they both know off the top of their head every single time I got the ball, every pass I made, every pass I missed. Like, they know everything. So after games, even if it's a day or two after, because sometimes I need time to process or cool down whether it was good or bad, I can call them and I know they watch the games. And I feel like that type of support, even though they weren't like physically present, I know that they're always with me. And honestly, it gave me also peace of mind to know that they're with my brother and sister and taking care of them.
You're so mature. It was incredible. Now it's easier for them. Like, as you said, like between Mexico and Monterrey. Yeah, it's better.
This season, they've been with me. I don't think there's a game that's gone by that they haven't been at. Like, every single game, they're there.
Yeah, that's true. And that was my next question. Like, how do you manage pressure and expectations? So that's a good answer.
Yeah, it's tough. But, like, at the end of the day, pressure is a privilege.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people who don't have the privilege of being in a professional team and having to perform well to be able to keep their contracts. There's lots of people who are fighting to be in your position.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who don't have the pressure of performing well when they get on the field because they're a bench player and they don't get on the field, whether it's for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or if you feel pressure because you're a starter and the girl who's on the bench has been doing well, like, you're privileged to be starting at the end of the day.
That's true.
Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're already a step ahead of other people. It's hard. Obviously it is hard. Like, my coach was telling us the other day, like, because it's been tough recently with our team. Like we're starting to feel the pressure. We're starting to be a team who's like breaking into the top 3, top 5, who are competing with the big teams. And now there is more pressure on us to do well. My coach is like, of course, like that's sport. At the end of the day, a job.
Yeah.
Like, of course, there's pressure to perform.
Yeah.
And yeah, at the end of the day, I just try to think of it as a privilege. I'm in a privileged place. Like, I have a great club. I'm on a team. I have a contract. I am a starter. Like, I get minutes.
Nice people around you.
Yeah, fantastic support system, fantastic teammates, fantastic coaches. Like, at the end of the day, okay, I need to perform, but
Yeah.
what else do you want? Like, if that's my only problem in life, like I say,
It's
took
true,
care
I
of the
think
other
so.
side.
And about football in Mexican, do you think people's views on women's football are changing in Mexico or maybe around the world?
I think around the world and in Mexico, I think Mexico still has a long way to go, and the world in general. I feel like it is, in general, a misogynistic world we live in. The men fill stadiums every single week, and we struggle to get the few thousand people that come. We're now like starting to get an average of 5,000 each game. There's games where you have 10, 15,000, which are super good turnouts. But for me, it is honestly a bit of sexism at the end of the day, because I watch the men's games, especially here in Mexico. And anyone who watches the Mexican League, they're not the most interesting games a lot of the time.
Okay.
Honestly, like
All the games, or they have like some
no,
good
most of the games in
or-
general are
Yeah.
not super interesting. They're all like 1-0 games. There's not a lot of goals.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
it's, I don't know. It doesn't
Yeah.
really get me very passionate. Like
Yeah.
when I watch European games, I can get worked up about like the men's games, and I can see where it's coming from. But then you see these women's games, and it's crazy, some of these scores. Last week we played, and it was a 5-3. There was a red card, 2 penalties, one missed one, and one had to be retaken because the keeper came out. There was an own goal. There was, I don't know how many crossbars. Like
Yeah,
it wasn't a great game for Raul Produce,
Dynamic.
but it's a fantastic game for any
Yeah.
fan who wants to watch. And I feel like most of our games
Yeah.
are when we played against America. It was a 1-0, a 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. Like it's been, they're really interesting games. There's always, and I feel like if people really watch the women's game, they would see that it's super entertaining, that the level is growing, and they know it's growing, and they know that the memes are good, but there's still something that stops them from going. And I do feel like it's a bit of, because we're women, you know?
It's going to start step by step.
Yeah, it's been growing so much though.
I don't know if you watched the European Cup. That was in my country, in Switzerland.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. Really incredible, great atmosphere, and as you said, like really a lot of goals, actions, really dynamic.
Yeah.
So
No, for sure. And that's just proof that obviously football in Europe has been around a lot longer than football, women's football in Mexico. And our growth has been incredible in the 5 years, 6 years, 7 years that the league has started. So I assume in the next 20 years, it's hopefully a similar
Yeah.
thing as what happening in Europe with the Euros will be happening over here too.
I'm pretty sure for that. Yeah. About the visibility, do you think that the media gives enough visibility to women's football? Like maybe especially at a youth of local level?
I think here in Mexico, they do a fantastic job with it. We do have some rules put in place on the league where we have to play in stadiums. Our games have to be televised. Like we have to have like certain requirements for the men's team to even exist. So I feel like that has helped us a lot. Like it is pretty cool. Like you can go in a bar here in Mexico, in a restaurant, and there are women's games playing, or on Fox Sports, you see like the commercials go on and they have the women's players in there along with the men. And it is, honestly, I do think that Mexico does a really good job. And I feel like the world in general has done actually a very good job with making it more visible, like with the Euros, like with the World Cup. There are times where I'm in the airport here in Mexico City and they're playing some German game, like some women's German
Nice.
game. Yeah. So I do think they are doing a good job. And I just think it's a matter of people changing their
Yeah.
perspectives, their ideas on women's sports. And I think it is happening, but obviously
Yeah.
it doesn't happen overnight. And I think it is helping so much that we have so much more visibility now.
Sure.
People didn't know it existed in some countries, and
Definitely.
now they see the games on TV and they're like, what? Like, this is incredible. So
In Europe, it's not that common. That I mean, like women's team don't play in stadiums
I know, the wo-
or even in the bar. You cannot that
Europe
much.
has a ways to go in some cases. Like, I feel like in Mexico, because we need to play in stadiums, it needs to be on TV.
That's a
it's
good
helped our
thing.
game grows so much. And I feel like Europe in general does lack in that. Like, I remember when I played in Arsenal, we'd play in like some third division men's stadium or fourth division men's stadium that holds like
Yeah.
maximum 3,000 people.
Yeah.
Which is like crazy, you know, like they should be playing. And I understand that costs to open stadiums are a lot, but at the end of the day, like, if you want to
It doesn't help you. Yeah,
if
exactly.
you want to improve, I guess, like viewership or interest in women's sports, you have to start somewhere.
Definitely, definitely. And how do you balance between professional life and private life? I mean, from the outside, it feels like women are more scrutinized than men. So how do you balance with that?
Honestly, I don't have a great balance in general. I don't
Okay.
think I ever have. It's always like, I don't think I do anything if it affects my football negatively. Like the way I sleep, the way I eat, the activities I choose to do, like
Living your life.
everything sort of revolves around my football. Yeah, I think like the thing that has kept me a bit sane, socially speaking, I guess, are like the people I have around me. So like the friends I've made, my family, my boyfriend. Like I have a really good group of people around me who also
That's important.
really understand my situation. So I am able to have like, I guess, like fun moments and good times, because they know, I guess, how far we can take it, which days, like what type of activities. So like, I guess in that type of way, choosing the people around you is incredibly important, and probably was what has helped me maintain at least some semblance of a social life. But in general, I'm not incredibly balanced. Like, I guess it works for me. I wouldn't say it's a 50-50 balance.
That's the most important.
I feel balanced, but it's definitely not a 50-50 type of thing.
Yeah, maybe your balance is not the same for your sister, your brother, or someone else, but
Yeah.
so
And you're totally right about women being scrutinized more. I think in general, anyone who's in the public eye does get scrutinized for even the most random things. Like you share on social media that, I don't know, you like to do this in your free time, and all of a sudden they're like, this is why you're not playing well, because you
Yeah.
only think and do this. It's like, you're also a human and have interests. Like I personally have like 2 social medias where on one social media all I post is like work things. So it's either football or media things that I've done. And I keep my private life very private because I feel like it just does expose you to, I feel like my sister, on the other hand, she has found a way to integrate her private life and her public life, like her football and her social life all together, and shares it on her social media. And she's very popular for it, and she does very well on social media for it. But I know she also gets a lot more criticism than I do. It doesn't tend to bother her, like that type of scrutiny. She's like, well, you know, like at the end of the day, like I know what I'm doing. At the end of the day, like all this attention is helping me. Like at the end of the day, like,
I know that's the most important.
yeah, like
So-
she's comfortable with her balance. I could not do what she does, but I'm comfortable with my balance. And yeah, everyone has their own way of doing things.
Finally, if you had like a message to send to little girls who dream of becoming footballers, what would you tell them?
Oh gosh, to dream big, you know, dream big, that everything is possible. Obviously, it's not easy. Nothing will be easy. Nothing worth it is easy. And you have to put in the work. You have to put in the hours. You have to sacrifice. But if you really love it, it's worth it. And yeah, just to keep dreaming. Like there's no limit. And to enjoy. Really enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, there's no point.
Sure. So finally, what is your biggest dream?
I really, really, really want to go to an Olympic Games. I really want to represent Mexico in the Olympics. That's probably my biggest dream. Like football wise, I guess.
Yeah.
In life, I think it doesn't seem like much, but at the same time, I think it's honestly the most. Just being like happy and satisfied with my life, you know, like having a nice family, keeping close with my family, like doing things like that make me happy, being able to, you know, just have a very nice life.
I like your perception of life.
I just enjoy it. Like, that's you only live once, so like, might as well live it fully, live it happily, doing the people you love. Yeah.
And finally, I have like something for you, like from Switzerland.
Oh.
So that's typically Swiss chocolate.
Thank you.
With pleasure. The pleasure was for me. I'm really grateful. So thanks a lot. I don't know if you have like a last word to add.
No, just thank you for traveling over here. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me, and
Thanks a lot for your time.
thank you.